Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
Hello and welcome to this week's Sunday Conversation here on Big Country Politics. I'm Manny Diaz. This week our special guest is Liz Case. She is a candidate, Republican candidate for Texas House Representative District 71. Miss Liz Case, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for letting me be here.
You bet, you bet. Well, you are challenging Stan Lambert for the District 71 House Representative here in the state of Texas. But let's start off with, who is Liz Case?
Yes, well, I am a former educator and I'm a volunteer. I've spent a lot of time working in nonprofits and politics mostly. I've spent the last 4 sessions working down in Austin as a volunteer, holding our legislators accountable to do what they say they are going to do when they come to the district and tell us, here are my plans, here's what I'm passionate about, these are the things I'm going to do, to make sure that they're doing those things when they go back to Austin and their votes reflect that.
Well, reading your bio, it said that you decided to enter politics at the age of 16, which is highly unusual if you think about a 16-year-old these days. What was involved in all of that?
Well, I went to a Christian camp when I was 16, and they showed us a film about abortion, and it was fairly new back then. And I walked out that evening and said, you know, Lord, I don't know what you want me to do about this, but here am I, send me. And I have been involved in politics ever since then.
Well, you've served on committees in which you were chosen by the Texas Republican Party leadership. What can you tell us about these committees, and did it ever involve working with the incumbent Stan Lambert?
Well, I started working on these committees in the year 2000, and these were done on the state level at the state Republican Party. And so Stan Lambert was not elected until 2015. And since these were done at the state convention, Stan Lambert was not one of the few state representatives that showed up at these state conventions. But I showed up working at the legislature about the same time that he was elected. And he wasn't one of the conservative legislators that I ever worked with when we were working on conservative issues. So I really haven't worked with him at all.
Have you had dealings with him, or interactions with him since that time, or during any of these type of occasions here?
Well, I did take a group of people into his office this year and to talk about school choice. And at that time, I asked him about a bill that says that chaplains can be hired by school districts if that district chooses. And I asked him to take a look at that bill. And he said, well, we can't have chaplains in schools because that would be a violation of church and state. And to which one of the people with me informed him that that was not in the Constitution. So that was a very revealing conversation.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're talking the issues with Liz Case, from the border to school choice and everything in between, pretty much. That and more right here on Big Country Politics.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
Well, welcome back to Big Country Politics. This is our Sunday conversation. This week we're chatting with candidate for District 71 Texas House Representative Liz Case. Ms. Case, according to your website, you're very passionate about several issues. Let's begin with something you're very familiar with in education. School choice has been a hot topic throughout Texas, certainly in the last, 6 months, since it's really kind of ramped up. What is your stance on this issue?
Well, it's something that I have been advocating for decades now. And as the mother of 4 children and somebody who taught for over a decade, children is something that I am extremely passionate about. I really want to be able to empower parents to be able to make the best choices for their children. I support true educational freedom to where American citizens are able to get a portion of their tax dollars back to be able to do whatever they deem appropriate for their students without any strings attached from the government. And I think that is really important for them to be able to do. But you know, I recognize that there are 5.4 million children in the state of Texas, and the majority of them are still going to be in public schools. So I think we've got to address our public schools also. And so when I'm the representative from District 71, I'm really going to lean into being able to help fix our Texas public schools, because I think our children in Texas deserve our best.
How do you make that argument for those who perhaps in the inner city of like Abilene, where you know those tax dollars go towards AISD, or you know in a bigger school district like that, where perhaps you know a Winners or a Holly, where that's like the only game in town, you know? How do you make that argument there with folks like that?
Well, we had several good proposals this session for being able to take a portion of those dollars and leave them with the district so that the school districts won't be hurt if they take a portion of the dollars to put them towards school choice, that a portion of the money will be left with the districts so that the districts won't suffer. And I think that's important because we can't hurt the public schools in favor of having school choice. So I think that we've got to be careful how we work this plan so that our public schools aren't damaged in favor of school choice. We've got to make sure that the options are good for homeschoolers and public school and private school. And I think there's a way to do that if we write the bills correctly.
Well, let's shift to property taxes. You said on your website, lizfortexas.org, while our elected officials continue to proclaim that they have passed the largest property tax cut in history, we the people are left asking, where's the relief? With that said, what would you propose be done differently?
Well, you know, truly owning your home is something that's a foundational right in a free society. But our system of taxation, I think, is fundamentally broken. And I think lawmakers have failed to address the elephant in the room, which is this runaway, unaccountable appraisal system that we have. And, you know, as our next representative, I really want to focus on reforming that appraisal system and ensuring that people like our seniors, our farmers, and our ranchers and our small businesses are not taxed out of their properties, because right now that's what's happening. Even when the state is doing something to help them on a state level, at the local level, the appraisals are rising so fast that even when something is done on the state level, that it's all being eaten up at a local level. So they're not seeing any relief, and we've got to fix that.
When it comes to border security, you've said that the top crop of leaders have failed. You would make securing the border your top priority. What does securing the border look like with Liz Case elected as Texas House Representative?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. You know, Stan Lambert has been in office for 4 sessions, and during that time, we've had over 9 million illegals cross our borders. It was so frustrating to sit in Austin this session and watch good bills be struck down by our Republican-led House and our Speaker Phelan, who Stan Lambert voted for. We did have some bills that really would have brought forward some solutions this session that were killed by the Speaker, and the clock was run out at the last minute during regular session and during special session.
Is there anything you have in mind that you would propose to perhaps fix this dilemma, to address this dilemma?
Well, you know, we've got constitutional authority under our Texas Constitution that we can take measures into our own hands. And one of the things that I think was one of the best proposals that we had this session was that we give our law enforcement, our Texas law enforcement, the ability to arrest and send back any illegals crossing the border. And I think that's something that we have to do. And that would be the first thing that I would propose.
Mm-hmm. Well, along with mentioning on your website about defeating the woke culture, you've stated that you're a proud culture warrior. With that being said, is there something that concerns you the most, and what would you like to see done about it?
The thing that I would concentrate on first would be to repeal the affirmative defense. And what that has to do with is the Texas Penal Code has a section in it that enables our school libraries to be able to put these, our sex education books have basically pornography in them. And it's just part of the penal code that allows them to do that. And we have to repeal that so that they can no longer have these pornographic books in our library, so that our sex ed books do not have this. And we had several bills that were proposed this session that would have done that. And that is something that we have to address the very first thing in next session. And that would be the first thing that I would work on.
Tell us, why should the voters of District 71 take a chance on Liz Case this March in the Republican primary?
Well, here's what I would tell you. If voters in District 71 want somebody that will stand up for them and that will vote your conservative values, then I'm the person for you. Our current representative, Stan Lambert, votes with the Democrats 57% of the time. And I will promise you that I will not vote with the Democrats. I will be cordial to them, but I will not vote with the Democrats. Stan Lambert also votes with the special interest groups 81.3% of the time. If you want somebody who's going to go to Austin and fight for you, then I'm the person that you want. I ask for your vote. I need your prayers. I need your support. Go to my website at lizfortexas.org and check me out and see what you think. I have a record of working for conservative values all my life.
Thank you, Liz, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. For Liz Case, candidate for District 71 Texas House Representative, I'm Manny Diaz. This has been another Sunday Conversation right here on Big Country Politics. We'll see you next week. God bless.